Bonjour, class. Uh, today we're gonna go over spelling change verbs, also known as boot verbs. I'll explain why they're boot verbs in just a little bit. So the first one we're going to look at is the conjugation of the verb espere. Espere means to hope. So we conjugate espere. We have j'espère, tu espères, il espère, elle espère, nous espérons, vous espérez, ils espèrent, elles espèrent. All right. So the reason why they're called boot verbs is you'll notice that some of them, with the infinitive form, the accent is accent aigu. But when we conjugate it, we change it to accent grave for je, tu, il, elle singular, and il, elle plural. So if we draw a boot around it, excuse my bad drawing, that's why it's called a boot verb. So everything that fits inside of the boot, you would change the accent. But nous and vous, we leave the accent going in the right way. Right? And these are ER verbs. These are ER verbs, so we're going to the ending conjugation is just like a regular ER verb. J'espère, tu espères, yes. Espère with an E. Espérons, ONS for new. Vous espérez, EZ. Il, elle espère, ENT. Acheter. So for these, you'll notice that the ones inside the boot, you add an accent mark. Accent grave. J'achète, tu achètes, il achète, elle achète. Nous achetons, vous achetez, ils achètent, elles achètent. So the ones inside, what we would call the boot, you get the accent grave. The ones outside, you leave alone. And then you have YER verbs, like je paie, tu paies, il paie, elle paie. Nous payons, vous payez, il paie, elle paie. The ones inside the boot, you change the Y to an I. There are some people who are okay with you not changing the Y at all. You can choose, if you choose changing the Y to an I, that's fine, but make sure, like if you're doing a verb conjugation chart, you're consistent. That if you change the Y to an I, you change the Y to an I for all the ones that you change the Y to an I for. If you don't want to change the Y to an I, you can leave it. That is my expectation. So je paie, tu paies, il paie, elle paie, nous payons, vous payez, il paie, elle paie. Payer means to pay. Right. Let's go ahead and look at some of the verbs. Espere, talked about, means to hope. Espere means to hope. Célébrer means to celebrate. Célébrer. Considérer. Considérer, to consider. Posséder. Posséder is to own or to possess something. Préférer, to prefer. Préférer means to prefer. Protéger, to protect. Protéger. So all of these that have the accent aigu, you change to accent grave. But if we look at, you notice préférer and célébrer have two accent aigu. When you're conjugating préférer and célébrer, you change the accent aigu to accent grave on the second E. The second E. Répéter. Again, you would change the accent on the second E. Répéter. Repeat. The bird repeats what you say. Répéter can also mean rehearse or practice, like pratiquer. Right. Now we're going to get into the verbs that you add the accent. Acheter means to buy. To buy. Acheter. Amener is to bring someone. Emmène is to take someone. You might take someone with you to go somewhere. So emmène. So emmène is to bring. Amene is to take. Amene is to take. Emmène is to. Oh, sorry. Amene is to bring. Emmène is to take. Sorry about that. A little bit. I got a little confused myself. And then the Y to I. Envoyer, which means to send. Employé, which means to use. That's where we get the word employee. Employé. SAA means to try. Payer means to pay. And nettoyer means to clean. Until next time, au revoir.